analyst Jason Capel joins the show.
Thank you.
Jason, nice to see you. We were talking earlier in the break that CC made racks on racks on racks. Wow. Racks on racks.
Stack
Because Villanova...
Stack them.
Villanova covers every single game, Jason.
Man, every game.
By double-figure points. Yeah. There hasn't been this type of dominance in the NCAA tournament since 2009. The Tar Heels.
It's unbelievable.
Their run with Tyler Hansbrough, dominant throughout.
All right, well, 2 months ago, Villanova's head coach Jay Wright sat right where you are, Jason, and laughed and smiled, talked about the joy of college basketball, what he was wearing. He was a nice guy. I thought, no way this guy's going to win the title. He's literally...
Hey!
Well, you waited to get that line in. Anyway...
Sharp guy.
Jay Wright won a title last night. Villanova capped off their dominant tournament performance with a 79-62 win over Michigan, led by 31 points out of Dante DiVincenzo. Off the bench, Wildcats win their second national title in 3 years, Jason. How are they able to dominate, the entire tournament, but especially last night over Michigan?
Simply, they had more weapons.
Yeah.
You take Brunson out, he's in foul trouble. Their bigs can't make shots from the perimeter. You insert the sixth man of the year, albeit, in the Big East, and he just goes on and puts on a show. No fear, wasn't afraid of the moment. He came in ready to hoop from the onset. And when you take away the three-point line, you need guys that can drive and get to the basket. He did that, softened up the defense, got his confidence early. That allowed him to take those confidence-building shots from way downtown. What a performance by the young man.
How important was it for him? Because they were struggling offensively when he was able to come in and give them a boost. But it's very, very rare that we're able to see, and you pointed out, not only the three-point shooting, but his ability to go up and under. He has to pull up here, but to get to the hole, to get that offense back going, because at halftime, Villanova had to be ecstatic about having the type of lead, given that they haven't played a lot of good basketball.
Well, he had 18 quick points. He came in, instant offense. It's the greatest performance off the bench since Tommy Shepard in the movie Above the Rim. You come in, you're just ready to go from the bench.
Let's throw it
that's
down.
Exactly what he brought. He came in, no corduroys, but he came in ready to play as soon as the ball touched his hands, and it was special. This kid will be a legend in Philadelphia for the rest of his life.
Well, and, listen, I understand he's a white kid from Delaware. He's an amazing athlete.
Oh, big time athlete.
We stereotype guys, especially if you haven't been watching Villanova all year. You don't
It's
know
not
him.
stereotype.
Okay, all right. Well,
they did a movie about it.
Was it Jaws?
The guy is an unbelievable athlete, and you saw that with his two defensive plays.
The two-hand block on Matthews, I believe. He was a big-time athlete.
The contest at the rim and the one he pinned against the backboard.
With two hands. Blocked it twice.
Blocked it twice. This guy, he was spectacular. And this is why this doesn't always happen in this tournament. And it's one of the great things about the tournament. But the right team won.
Yes.
The best team in college basketball throughout the year, with respect to Virginia, the team that can beat you so many different ways. You mentioned on the show yesterday, Jalen Brunson was going to maybe sweep the Player of the Year awards. Jalen Brunson's your AP Player of the Year, Naismith Player of the Year. He's the best player on their team. He's in foul trouble and shoots less than 30% from the field. You have Omari Spellman, who can't get on track. And they not only win, they win by 17. They win going away. I don't know how you felt. I thought the game totally changed last 5 minutes of the first half. That Michigan was playing their brand of basketball, mucking it up, slowing it down. It looked like, man, 65 might be enough to win it.
Absolutely.
And then the run Villanova went on at the end of the first half. They continued in the second half. Michigan, it seemed like they took a gut punch they couldn't recover from.
Those two consecutive three-pointers that DiVincenzo made really opened the game up, and you had to look like, uh-oh, Brunson's not playing well. Spellman's not playing well. Bridges hadn't gotten going yet either. We're dealing with this guy who has 18 points, and we know these guys, these other guys, the stars of the team, are going to get going at some point. Beilein did a great job getting his team there, 14 games in a row, but the best team in college basketball won the national title.
Jason, Nick made a great point early on about this tournament, that it's a great tournament to watch, that fans absolutely love it. They crave the type of the one-and-done winning, you go home. But it doesn't always make the best team, right? The team that wins isn't always the best team in college basketball. I think this year, the team that won the tournament was actually the best team in college basketball by a long shot, by a mile.
And you think of style of play, an unselfish team, an older team. You have redshirt guys who waited their turn. Again, you talk about Brunson and Bridges. They were role players. They're going to be first-round picks this year. They waited their turn. They played team basketball. They spread the wealth around. And we're talking about their offense. Their defense was pretty doggone good as well, and they're not going anywhere. They're built to last, now winning the championship 2 and 3 years, but also moving into the future as well.
The program that Jay has now, and I believe I'm calling it a program because you have guys elite level at freshman, Spellman, sophomore, as we saw with Dante, and then the veteran players you mentioned. I thought one of the key components is when you have a guy who's the sixth man, he comes into the game. We knew he was hot. But the veterans in Brunson and Bridges deciding that this might be my last game. These last 20 minutes, Bridges, I'm going to be in the lottery. It's time for me to show a little something. No, they still defer to Dante as the most lethal offensive portion there and acquiesce to him to be able to lead them. What type of maturity and what does it say about the coach that the veterans would play that way?
What it says is the role for everybody on the team is simply to win. And that's the culture that Jay Wright has built. Jay Wright said a couple years ago when they won, for a moment he was trying to recruit those top players, trying to get those top 10 guys. He said that's not the culture of Villanova basketball. He goes and gets guys that are going to work hard, going to buy in, going to form a team. So by March, they are the best team in the country. And that's what you've seen. You've seen hardworking players who buy in, that play together. They're completely selfless on both sides of the ball, and those are tough teams to beat.
And listen, to win this tournament, you need to have NBA players.
Yes.
And you mentioned it.
Yes.
They got 2 first-rounders on there.
2 first rounds right now.
DiVincenzo might end up playing in the NBA once he's done with college basketball. But it's an interesting line Villanova's walking right now. And I know it's going to seem like recency bias because they won 2 of the last 3 titles, but it seems like an effective line. By the way, University of Wisconsin, after going forever without making Final Fours, made a couple, walking a similar line, which was, all right, if Duke, Kentucky, and Carolina are going to go one and dones, right? Well, if you go one and dones once, you basically have to do it every year. Because, or else you're going to go through, you're going to have a drought because your guys leave. If you don't replace them with the best recruits in college basketball, you're not going to be able to compete. While they're doing that, it's not like Villanova's the 80th ranked recruiting class. This year, this incoming class is one of the best of his era since Jay Wright's been there. It's number 12. But they had 38, 42. But guys that Jay Wright knows going to have a redshirt sophomore, going to have a couple redshirt juniors, and come the tournament, we are, along with a guy like the Mikal Bridges, going to be a lottery pick, we're going to have the best combination of veteran talent, experience, and youth in order to peel off 6 in a row.
Absolutely. And when you take that redshirt year, it helps your body. You get physically stronger, more mature, but it helps your mind to see how things are done, what the culture is. So when you step into that moment, there is no learning. You know what you're supposed to do when you step on the floor and what the expectations are. It's just you said it perfectly. They're a program. The faces change, but the culture and the way they play remains the same. It's been beautiful to watch.
And it doesn't look like this is a team that next year is going to have to struggle to get back to this level of competition.
Well, no, because as Nick said, they have a great recruiting class starred by the point guard coming in, assumingly to replace Brunson and Javon Quinterly, originally committed to Arizona from Hackensack, New Jersey, a fast, flashy guard who has to buy in early, but he's talented. And when you pick up the front line in Spellman, Pascal, as well as the most outstanding player, DiVincenzo, Villanova's not going anywhere. They have a coach now who has to be in the same category. Listen, he has more titles than Izzo, Boeheim, and Bill Self.
And Coach Cal.
And Coach Cal. He's next to get that Hall of Fame speech ready because he has earned that right with what he has done with 2 and 3 years.
And when we were talking Josh Rosen we were talking millennials. You got to know who you're recruiting, right? Everyone you're recruiting in college basketball was born in the year 2000 or later, just because you're recruiting 17 and 18-year-olds. In their lifetimes, only Duke, Carolina, and UConn have won more championships. Like, I understand UCLA's got a million.
We use the term blue bloods, but for the millennials, they don't know what blue is.
I mean, Villanova's won one of the epic blue bloods, University of Kansas. They've won 2 titles in the last 60 years. Villanova's won 2 titles in the last 3 years. Like, so while Jay Wright might not be always going after Zion Williamson, DeAndre Ayton, top recruits in the class, you've got a bunch of 16-year-olds who say, what's the best college program I know? I don't know. Is it Duke? Is it Carolina? Is it Villanova?
It's Villanova.
Like, they're now in that discussion with this second title.
And they have pros that you can turn to and say, look, they came, they worked, and look where they are now. Kyle Lowry's doing pretty well for himself. They have guys that have bought into the system, won big, but also able to go chase their dreams. And not long ago, we were talking about Jay Wright and Villanova not being able to get out of the first weekend. Not only had they surpassed that, they've won 2 national championships. They got the monkey off their back, and college basketball better be on watch because these guys are not going anywhere. They're here to stay.
All right, Jason, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you.
Really good stuff. Coming up.
Thanks.